Okay guys, this has been drying for a long time now. Hasn't been one full day, but it is really dry. So I'm going to do the Resolene part of it now. Then we'll see what it's like in a little bit, or actually tomorrow I'm going to have to wait. So once I see that, then I'll know if I can actually do my antique process on this. Once I do the antique process and I do the brown edge, I should be good to go for putting on the sewing. The sewing and the burnishing is going to be the last stuff. So let's do some resist on this. Just kind of stir the bottle up a little bit. I'm using Resolene as a resist. Let's just start doing some resist work on it. It's just going to be like painting, except I don't have the color. Alright, cool. I've left it long enough. It's not actually reactivating the paint. That was kind of one of my worries, is it might actually reactivate the paint and get the pigment moving again, but it's not. So it's dried long enough. I'm good there. And then everywhere I put paint, I'm going to put some Resolene. I know the antique's not going to fill in and recolor some of that stuff and all that, and it'll keep it that color. It's really nice colors. I like it with the green and the black. I know it's going to darken up a little bit, but I'm hoping not too much when I put the antique on there. And that's why it's called a resist. So it resists being dyed right there. But I still want to get it in between the letters and that black. So that's why there's a little gap there. You can kind of see it in the video. I don't want to move this too much around because I don't want the Resolene to flow where I don't want it to go. But this little experiment also tells me how long I can let this dry, or I have to let this dry before I can put Resolene on it. Now, I'm not sure how the Resolene is going to act to a paintbrush, so that's why I've got this one marked. Because I don't know if it's going to cover those and make it so paint doesn't stick to them at all. If not, then I got a Resolene brush. If it doesn't, well, if it does, then I've got a Resolene brush, and I know which brush to use every time I do any Resolene work. If it doesn't, then I know it doesn't matter which paintbrush I use. I can even use my really fine detail brush. I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit and soak down. And I'm going to put one more layer of resist on it, and then I think I'm going to be really good. It seems to really be protecting it. I got some more to go. There's some spots I missed here, I guess. I can definitely see that. It's kind of cool that I could see that. So I'm just going to let that kind of soak in and dry a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Now this is that second layer I was talking about, so just going to go in and put that in. I can definitely tell it's doing something. It's putting like a protective membrane on it, which is exactly what it's supposed to do, is put a protective membrane on it so that the antiquing doesn't affect it. I want this to really stick out compared to the antiquing. I want the antiquing to do its job across the... I may not have even needed the second coat. We'll see. Now this is drying really fast. This is just weird. Never seen anything dry as fast as this stuff is drying. I think it's safe to say 2 coats is all I'm going to need. And I think it's... let this dry overnight and it'll be fine. I think I could do a good antique tomorrow without any worries, which is going to be awesome. But my little experiment worked. I knew the paints I usually use dry really quick, and that's what I like about the miniatures too. And I get a really good covering, even though people say that pigments and stuff. That was really cool experiment. I knew my paints usually dry really quick when I do my the miniature models and stuff like that, and that really worked out great. I think that told me everything I need to know for that experiment. Okay guys, I'm going to give this a shot with the antiquing. I think that's the best step to do right now. I have the other piece, it's all dried. I burnished the edge a little bit, I burnished that edge a little bit. I'm not too worried about it because I know they're going to be protected. It's got a pretty good burnish on it, so I'm going to finish up burnishing them later, and then I'll get the stitch lines put in. So for now, let's get this done. Get on some gloves. I know I've done a little bit of painting on a project, but to be honest, this is the most I've ever painted on a project. So this is going to be a real big time experience here for me. Kind of get this all wiped down. All right, let's give it a shot, see what happens. Now, you're supposed to put this in thick, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to give a nice even coat and really rub it down. You're supposed to be able to go right over the resist. And I want it to get in between the letters and that little border I had there. So it gives it that second color. I don't know how that's going to look, so we'll find out. Actually getting to the point where I've used a lot of the antiquing out of that bottle. I'm trying to just get some of that extra smeared around really good. Way I'm not wasting a whole bunch. I mean, there's going to be a waste. Kind of excited to see how that's going to turn out. Kind of excited. I'm actually really excited to see how that's going to turn out. Now, since my plastic's only so big, I might have to work off camera a little bit here. And then I got all this going, so we'll get this all straightened out. And then we'll do a takedown of it. Alright, so I got it on the strap. I'm going to make sure I got it all worked down into the recesses there. Because that's an important thing. That I won't need that to really light up. So what's going to happen is that's going to stay in the recesses and keep that darker. And then the top part's going to get kind of pretty much it all washed off, wiped off. And I'm hoping that resist really protected that black and the green on there. That's what I'm hoping. So we'll find out how this looks then. You know, see how that really brings out the basket weave on that? See how that really brings out the basket weave. That's a really nice look. I like it. So that looks good. I like that. See how that looks now? That really brought that antique out. It brought out the marks and the tooling and everything. I think that was perfect. Let's see for coloring though, how close we are to my band. I want everything to look like this piece here. I think just one more coat up here. I think as far as this area, it's good. I'll do a light coat there. And I think one more coat on that strap is I'm going to have to work into. Now this is going to be a coat that I'm going to rub really good down into the cracks so they all get filled in, just making sure I didn't miss anything. But that did exactly like I was hoping it was going to do. It was going to bring out all that tooling and really bring the detail of that tooling to the eye. Because inside the tooling, there's a Celtic knot weave into it too. And I was hoping that was going to come out really nice, and that really came out nice. So let's get up here too. Let's get kind of a darker or a whole bunch of covering on this. And I still got the backside to do on this. But I'm not too worried about the backside. I'm thinking with this one, because of the way that this leather was a little bit darker than that other strap. So I think I'll be able to hit my color, hopefully, in the very first shot. I'll let that kind of sit just a little bit and really work into it. That's kind of an experiment I got right now. I want to let it sit, work in a little bit, because the directions actually say to put it on and then wipe it off. And I kind of want to see what's the difference of if I leave it on for a little bit, see how it works. The edge I'm not worried about. I'm going to do that edge coat like I did on the other strap, just to keep everything universal looking. The edge coat like that you see on there. Alright, now I think that's had enough time. let's go through, and I'm going to try to get pretty good in that because I want that green to come back. And it did come back, so I'm happy about that. I was really nervous that that green wasn't going to come back. And I think we got it in 2 coats this time. I think on that strap I did 3 coats, if I remember correctly. Now here's a good example of how leather is. Some of it tans easier than others. Like this part you see on that strap compared to this strap where it's definitely lighter. That's just because of the difference in the leather. In the animal, the skin changes a little bit as it goes around. I'm thinking what this is since this is from a double shoulder, I'm thinking this part is getting down into the actual arm area of the animal, and the darker part is across the back and stuff like that. So that came out like I was hoping. The green really stays stuck out. I think that brown adds that second color, that third color that I was looking for. It adds that third color, so it's a third dimension for the eye to see. And I think basically now it's just let that part dry, but I still got to do the back side. And the back side, I kind of used a part that I knew was the leather was a little bit off, kind of. It's the back side. It's not going to be seen. It's a stiffener. I mean, it is going to be seen because you can see the back part, but it's not as important as this part. And I think that would be a good use of that part of the animal. So there's a couple of scars in here. There's some bug bites. There's some heavy trauma to the skin. So that's all going to come out with this antiquing. Like here's some scars and stretch marks. And I thought about just going a dark brown on the back, but I guess I kind of want it to have a uniform look front and back as much as possible. So, and I see a cat kind of looking what I'm doing. This time when the cat gets on the bench, I'm going to kind of scare him down just because I don't want him getting stuck with this antique on his fur. I don't think that would be a healthy thing on his fur. So if he does jump up here, guys, I'm going to shoot him down. Usually, I just let him play up here as long as I know that they're not going to get into anything that's going to hurt them. I don't know, I might do a second coat on part of this. And then once I get done with the antique and the antique's all dried, I'm going to go and I'm going to throw linear caliper on it just to see the thickness. Because I know I had, when I bought it, it was 8 to 9 ounce, but I don't know if just sitting or if it changes at all because of humidity and all that. The weather this year has been just nuts. We had a huge snowstorm in the middle of April. I've never in my life have seen anything like that. Well, I've seen snowstorms, but not in the middle of April. Usually right now, mushroom hunters are just finally starting to poke into the woods. You know, check here and there. The chances of a mushroom being popping out just might happen, but not with this weather. So I'm going to let that sit for just a little bit. Because to me, it just feels like a waste when you put such thick coat on there and then you wipe it right off. I don't know how much that gets in. It seems to work pretty good, though. I mean, I can't knock it. It's not. It's doing like it says it's supposed to do. Oh, that looks nice. Even with all the scars and that scar and this scar. There's a lot of scars on this one. I'm not going to point them out. There's just too much to point out. But, I mean, even with those scars, it looks. Keep in mind, folks, this is the first one I made. So, I'm sure there's things that I've done wrong. I'm sure I could do other things. I'm sure there's a better method to the madness, I guess you could say, out there. This is what I'm using for now. Oh, got a little bit of stain on my table. And I'm just kind of cleaning this out. The belt holes have antique gel in there, so I might just shift off screen real quick, grab a couple of Q-tips. I think that came out the way I like it. I think I don't have to worry about a second coat there. So I'm just going to kind of clean into those holes a little bit. Now what I was thinking is maybe I could start my next project that I want to work on after I get done with doing this, but I'm going to need this to sit out on this plastic. So I guess I got a little bit of downtime. I do this part-time. I'm just learning, so I'm not fast at it. So I hope people understand when they ask me to do something for them. It's not going to be a fast, quick turnaround. It's going to be a few weeks for me. I think that's good. I think it's a great job. I'm definitely going to clean up. I'm definitely going to let this sit for a while and just dry. I want to let it get really dry. I was going to do some things. I was going to get this all ready, get out the pricking irons and prick the holes in there for sewing and probably get it sewn, but I want to leave this out to dry, so I don't want to take all this stuff down. I want to just leave this out. So this is going to take a little bit of time, guys. And thanks for watching this part of the video. As I've said before, it really helps me out when you guys subscribe and stuff like that to my videos on YouTube. So I really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. And have a good day.